in. So hello and congratulations on having your presentation accepted for THETA 2019. And welcome to the First Time Presenters webinar. My name is Margie Jantti and I'm the Chair of the Program Committee, and today I'm joined by Fenton, a Toastmaster and public speaking expert, and Professor Maarten Laat, who's a member of the THETA Organising Committee, and he'll be sharing his advice on how to get the most out of the full conference experience. Today we will be recording the webinar so you can come back to it as you need. To make things move a little bit more smoothly, we have put a mute on all the participants. So if you do have any questions or comments that you would like to have answered in regard to the information that we do share, please use the chat or the Q&A functions that are available on your screens. And we'll come back to those questions and comments after the formal part of our presentation. So let's begin by setting the scene. THETA is considered to be the premier technology, education and information conference for Australia and New Zealand. We're expecting at least 600 delegates from all around the globe. So you might be wondering who attends the THETA conference. Well, our delegates range from senior executives to educators to managers and practitioners. And why do they come to THETA? Well, that's because they want to hear of emerging and best practice in how we use technology, information and so forth to advance research, learning and administration for our institutions. Quite simply, they're here to learn from the best. So at THETA, you will have a team of people who will be there to do their utmost to make sure that our delegates, as well as you, have the best possible experience during the conference. We'll be sharing with you some instructions on how to manage the technical and the administrative components of your presentation, as well as presenters' hints and tips. You'll receive instructions over the course of this webinar and post the webinar on how to upload your presentation, and this needs to be done by the 13th of May. When you arrive at the conference venue, please check in at the speakers preparation room. This is where you get a chance to test your presentation before you go to the presentation room. And you can also seek advice and guidance from the technical support team to make sure that all of your transitions, any video content or animations will work to their optimal level. Every speaker will have a session chair in the presentation room with them. And the role of the session chair is to meet and greet you, to answer any questions that you may have. They can introduce you to the technical support team that's available in the room. Importantly, they will introduce you, they will keep you to time, and they will also facilitate questions and answers if you are presenting one of the longer presentations. We hope that throughout this webinar and the information that we share, that we can reassure you that you will be well looked after as a first-time presenter. So now it's over to Michael to share some advice and expert tips for preparing and delivering your presentation.
Thank you so much, Margie. So today we're going to be talking a few key tips. How to organise your presentation. So how do you keep that audience attention? Using visual aids effectively. So how do you keep the audience engaged, help them understand what you're presenting, and help them to remember what they're hearing? How to control your fear, how to know your audience. So how do you share your knowledge and move the audience to share your viewpoints? And finally, preparation and practice, how to create comfort and security while delivering your presentation. So organising your presentation, it can be really simple. We can talk to them about what we're going to tell them, then we tell them, and then we remind them by telling them what we've told them. But we can do that a little bit more effectively. We can do this through an outline. What would that outline look like? Well, let's talk about your key points. We have our topic that we're going to discuss. Now, from that, we'll obviously have key points we want to talk through, and we list out those key points. Arrange those points in a logical order so they flow from one point to the next. Expand upon those key points, and that's where you're developing your presentation, you're developing the content you want the audience to hear. And I know this sounds a little bit weird. Then we develop an introduction. And the reason why we suggest developing an introduction at this late stage is now that we have the pieces we're talking about, we want to talk now about a captivating introduction. Remember that your audience focus for the first 2 minutes are trying to gauge whether they want to hear you or whether they're going to start falling asleep. So a great punchy introduction is the best way to engage that audience quickly, fast, and make sure they're there for you along the ride. And then finally develop that conclusion, which again reiterates what you've spoken about through your key points. So a quick sample presentation outline I've displayed here is talk about the topic, tell us the 3 points, expand upon those points, and flow through that guide. And this will be included in the slide deck we'll be sending at the end. It's an example, you don't have to use it, but it's an effective way of delivering that message. It is best to do things systematically since we're only human, and disorder is our worst enemy. Isn't that so true? Visual aids. Who has seen a presentation where somebody has literally spoken to the slide deck? Literally to the slide deck. I could take the same amount of information from that slide deck rather than taking it from the speaker. So why should we be using those visual aids? Well, we use that to increase the understanding, to try and help us convey that message along with the words that we're speaking. Remember, most of what we learn is ingested through our eyes, not our ears. So visual aids help convey that message to boost that understanding. They save time. Sometimes we've got graphs, we've got images to show, and those help display what we're trying to convey without using so many words. They enhance retention. After all, who remembers that slide from 4 years ago? I know I do, there was one slide. And again, it's one of those things that enhance that retention. Help the audience remember what you've been speaking about. They promote attentiveness. People think much faster than you can speak, so their minds tend to wander in a speech, and the visuals help them guide them back to your message, back to your presentation, and they add variety and interest to the presentation. And finally, they help control your nervousness. Who here has gotten into a presentation and forgot kind of what they're talking about? The visual aids, the slides are there to help remind you where you are and what the message is you're getting to. Remember, if you emphasize everything, nothing seems important. So use those visual aids to reinforce your main point, reinforce the message you really need to drive home, enhance that understanding and remembrance of complex material, and finally, saving time. Sometimes the same message is communicated faster and better through visuals than spoken words. Some people use visual aids as prompts for their presentations, relying on them for notes. Visual aids do not replace preparation. So how can we make them the best we can? Make them visible. Everyone in the room must be able to see the visual aid. Use the largest possible lettering in both upper and lower cases. Use blank space to make the text stand out. Limit each visual to only one main point or thought. More than one point distracts the audience and gets them flowing in all sorts of weird, wonderful ways. Use no more than 6 lines of text and 6 words per line per visual. This helps keep the text big enough for the audience to read. And finally, keep them simple. Avoid cluttering a visual aid with many different graphics because sometimes overdoing it can definitely detract from your presentation. Make sure you display a visual just before you're ready to talk about it. Maintain your eye contact with the audience as you display that visual. Remember, people connect to people. If you're connecting with the audience, they're connecting with you. Display it long enough. Show the visual as long as it needs to discuss the point that you're raising. Don't block the visual. I have seen many awesome slides that are blocked by the presenter right in front of the screen. Make sure you're standing off to the left or right side of the room, and that's why we do have the speakers preparation room, so that you can go through, test this sort of stuff beforehand. And finally, rehearse. Practice with your visuals until you can display them smoothly and confidently. Let's quickly talk about fear. Why are we fearful? Well, we'd be crazy to say public speaking is a pleasant, enjoyable experience. No, everyone gets nervous. But the experienced speaker also knows how to appear confident in front of the audience and applies the proper methods and techniques for relaxation through their presentation. So what sets us off? New and unknown situations. The inability to anticipate what the unforeseen... Let's start that again, shall we? The inability to anticipate the unforeseen causes high levels of anxiety, as I'm experiencing right now, apparently. But remember, preparation, remember that you've got a team to support you. They're there to help you make the best of your experience. And at the same time, you have an audience who are right behind you. They want to hear from you. So these are sort of things that you can take to calm yourself down. The risk of failure. We all dream of success. We all dream of victory. To not finish or not be the best often increases that nervousness and anxiety. But again, we're all here to deliver a message. We all have a topic to talk about, and we're here to share knowledge where there's no possibility of failure. That potential for appearing foolish, and finally the possibility of boring the audience. And hopefully a lot of the tips we're going to be talking about now are going to try and alleviate some of those concerns. So what can we do? Practice, 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 practice. Practice in front of a mirror. Rehearse in front of your family and friends until they go, oh, not this again. Deliver the speech in front of your colleagues. Deliver it in front of other groups that you have available to you. These are opportunities that you can't let go, and again, that experience, that opportunity makes things a lot calmer for yourself. Let's talk a little bit about visualization. So, research suggests that vividly imagined events are recorded almost as memories. To the brain and the central nervous system, these memories are indistinguishable from actual experiences. So let's play on that a little bit. Let's visualize a scenario. Let's imagine ourselves at THETA. We're introduced to the audience. We walk up to the lectern, confidently smiling to people. We speak clearly and forcefully, remembering all of the points we wanted to make. We captivate the audience with our words, gestures, and vocal variety. And when we finish, the audience applauds in appreciation. Repeat those moments to give you the confidence you need and the memory of an awesome experience at THETA. We can also talk a little bit about relaxation techniques, and some of those are a little bit weird and obscure, but let's give it a go. Don't be afraid to focus on areas of concentrated tension, such as your shoulders. Tighten your muscles and relax. Tighten and relax. Do this for all of the major muscle groups, starting with your feet and working up to the facial muscles. Don't be afraid to smile. Stand, inhale, and stretch out your arms towards the ceiling. Then exhale as you bend to touch your toes. Hold your arm out to the sides, parallel to the floor, and rotate them in small little circles. Drop your head to the chest, rolling it from the right to the back and right around again. And again, breathe from your diaphragm. That helps get your voice in the best shape it needs to be to project across a room. And remember, it's normal to feel nervous. Now here's a hot tip that a lot of people seem to forget. So if you miss that one word in your presentation, who here is going to notice? No one. Your audience are here to listen to you. Minor mistakes will go past. If you forget that one key statement, that's okay. and use those methods we've discussed earlier to exhibit that confidence. Now we're getting into the pointy end, getting to know our audience. So let's talk about some things we need to think about. What would our audience already know? So what have they heard? What have they thought about is the topic? What coverage of your topic has already been in the media? What issues have you heard occurring in the media around the higher education sector? And what could your audience assume from your topic? And the reason why we want to ask those questions is, well, to be a successful speaker, you need to know who the audience is and fine-tune the message and how it is sent to the audience in order to succeed. Speakers want to share knowledge and move an audience to share their viewpoint. In order to do this, they must send their message in such a way that it is easy for the audience to receive and understand this. Let's be clear though, a speaker does not need to adjust their message and their opinions or talk about only what the audience wants to agree with in order to effectively send a message. But the more a speaker knows about the people in the audience, the easier it is to establish the best way to deliver a specific message to a particular group. And finally, the important part, preparation and practice. Preparation and practice lead to excellence. The majority of speakers recognise the value in careful preparation and regular rehearsal before delivering a presentation. But successful speech making consists of more than devising an idea, writing down notes, and standing up at the lectern for a specified length of time. The difference between a truly excellent speaker and an average speaker lies in the amount of preparation that goes into their preparation. So what should we be doing when we arrive? Before we arrive, let's talk some important points. Rehearse your presentation. Practice the ideas, not the words. It's important that you know the ideas that you wish to convey instead of memorizing copy by the speech outline. It's important to prepare a mental draft of your presentation so that you know, oh, I'm going from this slide, and the next slide I'm going to be talking about this. Make sure whenever you're rehearsing, you finish each session. It's possible that you might slip up, you might falter, but instead of stopping right there and going, I'm going to start all over again, no. Indicate that trouble spot. Mark it with a check on your outline and then resume. Return to the problem area after delivering your presentation. Final, and as we're concluding, add improvements gradually. So you might be recording yourself, you might have friends and family providing feedback, and they might tell you to focus on this or this. It's really great feedback, but make sure you focus on one section at a time. Focus on your inflection or your pacing or your body language with each single rehearsal. And then finally, arrange for feedback. Again, friends, family members can provide opinions. If outside opinions aren't available, record that speech on an audio or videotape and play it back for some evaluation. Now we're getting to the pointy end. Now that we've arrived, what should we do? What should we be doing? Getting familiar with the space. So we've spoken, the THETA Speaker Preparation Room has staff on hand to assist you through a number of these parts, but it's important that we all make sure that we think these steps through. So the lectern and the audience location, the room arrangements, knowing where our speaking area is, where the audience will be, what's the stage location of the steps and ramp and where are we? The microphones, also important. Depending on how the room works, depends on how you need to project through the room. And then we're speaking about the room conditions. So what does my room look like? What sort of things will I be facing? Will there be an awesome ocean breeze passing through my room? Or maybe the sound of surf in the background? Things to know. But also making sure that there's sufficient lighting, making sure that the temperature is right in the room, and finally, understand the technology. And again, The speaker preparation room is your #1 hotspot for this. Going through, checking through to see, does my PowerPoint presentation work the way I think it does? Does all the technology work the way I hope it will? Does the video pop in the right moment? And with that, that concludes the preparation side, and I'll now pass over to Professor Maarten de Laat. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for these great tips, and I hope this will help everybody to prepare their talk and be confident about delivering it. But the conference is not all about your own presentation, so try to relax and enjoy the conference, and most of all, learn from other presentations and their topics. This friendly conference is great for learning and sharing knowledge, so don't be afraid to approach presenters just to have a chat. Therefore, again, it's probably best to be prepared. Browse the program in advance and see what fits with your interests. Read the abstracts. Perhaps prepare some questions to talk about with the presenters when you approach them. Most of all, think about your goals for the conference and how you will achieve them. Also, the conference provides some other events to connect and build networks. So don't try and do everything during the presentations. Some networking opportunities are the welcoming reception at the Sunday afternoon. There is the gala dinner on Tuesday evening. But also check out the deep dive experience and meet the vendors and the sponsors. Or simply join the campus research tours to meet UOW researchers and learn about their great work. Finally, be sure to download the app. The app offers all the information about the conference program, and it has the abstracts. It provides a map of the venue so you can easily locate where the presentations will be. There's information about how to travel to and from the conference, and also there will be a presenters list so you can find all the delegates. Most of all, the app will always have the most up-to-date information, and it will help you to get the best out of the conference. So please check the website for updates on how to install this particular app. Well, that's all I wanted to share. I'll hand back over to Margie to finish up.
Thanks, Maarten. So just some logistics in terms of making sure that we can get your presentation working to optimal level. So there's some specifications that need to be addressed. So when you are preparing if you are using PowerPoint, please ensure that you are using the ratio of 16:9. We anticipate over 100 presenters will be using the speaker preparation room during the conference. That's why it's imperative that you actually upload your presentation to the link that is presented on the screen now by the 13th of May. This will allow time for the technical team to sequence the presentation so they're available to be run in the various concurrent streams. On the day of your presentation, go to the speaker preparation room. We encourage you to go there several hours before you are due to speak. Again, this allows sufficient time for you to do any run-throughs, practice sessions, and if there are any technical issues, then the team has time to address your needs in a timely fashion. In terms of your presentation, with all the hints and tips that both Michael and Maarten have shared, it's really important that you keep to time. This is a fast-paced program and we need to be fair to you and to the speakers who follow you. So if you've been assigned a long presentation, factor in 20 minutes for speaking or delivering your presentation. Allow then 5 minutes for potentially 1 or 2 questions from the floor, and to allow the session chair to transition from you to the next speaker. If you're delivering a short presentation, we have structured these as picture presentations. And this is where you have upwards of 20 slides that can be shown for 20 seconds each. And there's no Q&A. And to ensure that you can move through your presentation and through your practice sessions, we recommend that you automate the slide transitions to that allocated time. And that'll make it easier for the technical team to stitch your presentation with the others that will either precede or follow yours in the short presentations. So to sum up, prepare. Prepare your content, prepare your narrative, and think deeply about the audience experience. What are those takeaways that you want the audience to receive based on your presentation. Developing your narrative will ensure that if there is any technical hitch, that you can still deliver your story without any sort of background slides or animations or audio. At the end of the day, it's about you sharing your story, the experience. Prepare. You've got a deadline of the 13th of May to deliver and upload your presentation to the THETA email link. As Michael has shared with us, practice is imperative. Know your story, be clear in the audience takeaways, and as Maarten shared with us, participate. Take in the whole of the conference experience. This is a fantastic opportunity to immerse yourself with over 600 subject matter experts, leaders within the field, colleagues from Australia, New Zealand and beyond. We learn more when we're relaxed and engaged. So that's why the socialisation activities are so valuable. In your preparation, always don't lose sight of who you are. This is an opportunity to present your authentic self. These hints and tips are merely to enhance your capacity to tell your important story. So now it's over to you. Let's have a look at the questions and comments that you have posted. So Maarten, I know you've been monitoring these. So what's coming through?
Well, at least there was a question I already answered it, but it's about the fact if the speaker preparation room will be available on Sunday, which it is. It's open from 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. So don't worry about presenting early on Monday morning. You will be able to do it on Sunday evening.
Fantastic.
And I haven't really seen other questions coming through as of yet.
Is there anything in the chat section?
No. Maybe we just need to give people some time to type their questions.
Sure.
Do we have to use PowerPoints?
No. PowerPoint is one option, but I have seen speakers use different platforms to deliver their presentation. So the one thing I would suggest is that if you choose to use something other than PowerPoint, to test it on multiple devices and multiple browser platforms, just to make sure that you're not going to have any sort of synchronization issues. Sometimes it's nice to have a break from PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Well, you could also simply just tell a story.
Well, indeed, absolutely. Sometimes it's lovely just to hear from a person without always a lot of things behind the screen. When we look at TEDx talkers, they often do it as a narrative, don't they?
Yeah. So
do we have the option of playing audio in the presentation as well as projecting images?
Yeah.
That should be fine. Again, that's why it's really important to go to the speaker's preparation room just to run through all of those technical applications. Based on past experience at THETA conferences, I have seen people use animations, I've seen them use audio, I've seen them use video, and they have worked with great success. So again, test it on different platforms, different devices, and go to the speaker preparation room.
So we had a few questions come through. So can we use Google Slides? Again, making sure that we get to the speaker's preparation room beforehand.
Yeah.
Can't see any major issues there. Will there be internet in the room? There must be. Yes,
there will be Wi-Fi available as part of the conference experience. And I know at the organising committee that took place earlier today, they were just finalising the Wi-Fi logistics. So again, we will provide you with ongoing updates in terms of what you can expect within the as part of the conference experience, and so we'll be very clear on what Wi-Fi experiences will be available to you.
Yeah, and again, I think in the speaker preparation room, if you want to make use of particular cloud-based technologies, be sure to test it out. If there are some technical glitches, that you have a fallback plan.
Yes.
Because the Wi-Fi may be quite overused by people sending tweets and things, so it could be a bit heavy traffic, basically.
There was was also a question about, can we use our own laptop?
The answer to that is no. So that's why it's so important that you upload your presentation in advance, and there will be then it will be loaded to the technology that is available in the room. That's to ensure that we have smooth transition and handover between the speakers, especially for the speed presentations that will be delivered Pecha-Pucha style.
Mm-hmm. There was also another question from Joy. I would like people to participate in the ECHO 360 ALP activities. Will all participants be enrolled in a conference ECHO course?
We need to take that question on notice, Joy, if that's okay with you, and we will provide you with a follow-up on that.
Yeah. Interesting question.
Great question, thank you.
So I think that was the last question we had. So far came through just
yeah. Feedback monitors for speakers.
I'm not quite sure. Is it fallback monitors?
Could you expand on that question for us, please? There's a question here on the fold-back monitors, etc., for speakers.
Are we talking about the monitors that are presented back to the speaker as they're presenting?
Yes. Okay. I don't think that will be the case.
No, but we'll need to check.
We'll check in on that one. So that was fold-back monitors.
Yeah.
There
are presenter monitors.
Thank you so much, Deb, for responding to that one. So she's confirming that yes, there are presenter monitors. Mm-hmm. And the question is for Keynote?
For Keynotes as well, I guess.
Yeah. I think she's. Yeah.
We will definitely check.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, all rooms. Fantastic.
Perfect.
This is a technology conference after all, so we hope that we will be able to support the majority of people's needs.
Mm-hmm. Will there be remote clickers to advance slides?
We will. I'm confident that Deb will jump in here.
Yeah.
However, that seems to be a standard practice. So again, these are the sorts of technical requirements that we are putting to the conference organisers. But I would be confident that yes. But we will advise. We will confirm that for you.
We have to check this. More than likely it will.
Yeah.
Because it gives more freedom. Otherwise,
exactly.
Like the keyboard for.
Well, I think then if you're going to move around a lot, you just need to be careful as to where the microphones are. So we'll just need to just keep that in context as well.
Mm-hmm. One or two more questions before we wrap up.
I'd like to put a question to our participants in this webinar. Have we answered the questions that you had before coming into the webinar, and what still might be outstanding for you?
It was a good refresher. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thanks, Samantha. So while this information has been shared for you as a first-time presenter at THETA, these are the steps that Michael and Maarten take every time that we prepare for a conference or any type of speaking engagement. So you didn't get a chance to see me running through my practice session before you clicked online. We always prepare, we always practice, and we always get feedback. I know when I'm delivering an important presentation, whether it be at a conference, at a professional event, for the Vice-Chancellor, I always do several practice sessions, and I get colleagues who I know who will give me really constructive feedback. So I can hone the experience and my delivery. So again, it's all about the audience. Will they find this informative? Is it interesting? Does it maintain their energy levels?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think any further questions came.
Yeah, a lot of people are just happy.
Yeah.
So again, in summing up, prepare your content, your narrative. Be on time. Upload your presentation by the 13th of May. Again, practice, know your story. That way, if anything does happen to go wrong, that you can keep your keep a seamless momentum with your presentation, and really take part in all of the activities that the conference offers. I know that the Experience Committee has put in a lot of time and energy and thought in making sure that you have a fabulous social time, so you can forge those connections and reconnect with colleagues and make new networks and friends.
There was a final question that just came in. This is what if the PowerPoint file is simply too large to email? And James already responded saying, well, maybe you can compress it. But if that doesn't work, I would just simply reach out to the conference and say, the file is too big, how can we arrange an alternate way?
Yes, yeah, great question, because especially if we are using a lot of image material and so forth. So we'll take that on board, and we will make sure that we can provide instructions for large uploads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, as we noted at the beginning of the webinar, the webinar has been recorded, and we will make that available to the participants shortly, and we'll advise you of the link. Keep following THETA on Twitter and the website and the newsletter, and that way you'll keep up to date with all the latest news and upcoming hints and tips on how to get the best out of this major conference. We can't wait to meet you. Welcome to Wollongong. If it's the first time visitor to Wollongong, I'm sure you're going to find it a very beautiful place to visit and experience. And Maarten, myself, and Michael look forward to greeting you in May at our wonderful city. So all the best. We look forward to hearing your stories over the course of the conference, and hopefully have the opportunity to meet you face to face and say a big hello.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us today. All the best, and see you very soon. Bye for now.
Bye.